As a small business owner, my favorite thing about posting a job on LinkedIn is that when I hit post, I clock out and LinkedIn clocks in.
LinkedIn makes it easy to post your job for free, get qualified candidates, and manage them all in one place. Plus, LinkedIn extends the reach of your job post by allowing you to share it with your network. And hiring managers that add a hiring frame to their LinkedIn profiles receive 2 times more qualified applicants. Go to linkedin.com/achieve to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Are negative Google reviews hurting your business? Don't let unfair feedback cost you customers. At Webamax, we specialize in removing false, misleading, and damaging reviews so your online reputation stays strong. Our expert team works quickly and legally to clean up your digital presence, helping you rebuild trust. Visit us on the web at www.gowebamax.com. That's GOWEBIMAX.com, or text us for a free quote at 856-840-8343. Don't let bad reviews define you. Get immediate help from Webamax.
Every cup of Nespresso coffee is an invitation to transform your morning routine into a ritual you can treasure each and every day. Using the Virtuo Pup, a simple touch of the button freshly brews bold aromas and a rich, velvety crema layer for delicious cafe-quality coffee at home. Whether you enjoy your coffee hot or over ice, every sip, every morning is unforgettable. Nothing tastes like Nespresso coffee. Visit Nespresso.com or our app to explore our full range of easy-to-use machines and coffees not found anywhere else.
This episode is brought to you by Abercrombie. Build your fits of the day with Abercrombie's newest denim drop. Here's where to start. Abercrombie's 90s straight jean goes with any shirt from tees to sweater polos. Super versatile. Their loose and baggy jeans are more trend forward, so you can grab those and go out with your friends. Abercrombie's denim fits come in a range of washes. Build your looks around Abercrombie denim. Shop online or in store.
Welcome back to Rams Up, your favorite LA Rams podcast. We are part of the Fans First Sports Network. You can follow us on our YouTube channel as well, at LA Rams Up. I'm your host, Mark. I'll be joined occasionally by my football gurus, Paul and Ian. Let's get to it. Hey everybody, welcome back. Mark from Rams Up here, and I have another edition of our Rams fan rap session, and I have with me Farbod Tehranian out of Florida, of all places, a Floridian Ram fan. What is going on, Farbod?
Just living the dream, Mark. Happy to be a Rams fan living in South Florida. I'm one of very few, as you can imagine, but I do my best. Of course, I got the Sunday ticket. I watch all the games, and, I got my Rams gear a little bit behind me, as you can see, and very excited for next season, as we can imagine, because, we're going to win the Super Bowl. So.
Yeah, I think that's very possible. There's a lot of things that are going to probably have to line up for that to happen, but it's still extremely possible. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I spent some time in South Florida, and obviously there's a lot of Dolphins fans and maybe even some Bucks fans. You're on the wrong coast for Tampa Bay, really. But my time there's a lot of transplants, so you probably got a lot of Jets and Giants fans as well, right?
Especially, of course, yeah. Bills fans, Jets fans, Giants fans, you name it. And of course, the typical teams that travel well: Steelers fans, Packers fans. You get all that. We're the destination. The phrase is, you vacation where we live. You get that too, living in the LA area. So it's
right.
Similar climate, but yeah.
Yeah, and I know my some relatives there. They're big hockey fans, so you get the Rangers fans too, and all that. Yeah, and that's good.
The base is growing though since we won the Stanley Cup recently. So
yeah, you just got to. I've always told people, people bang on LA and the lack of support for the Rams, and the support is really there. It's just you just got to embrace the situation, though. There's so many people, fans from all over the country, that live there, and they travel there as well. So what are you going to do? You just got to, I think Ian and I have talked about it quite a bit, continue winning and continue drafting players like Puka Nacua. The fan base is going to grow.
Yeah.
So how did you become a Ram fan?
Well, actually, so I'm 33 years old, and in '99, the Rams made the Super Bowl against the Titans. And I was a third grader at the time. I was a little kid, and they won, I guess, and and I jumped on the bandwagon. And ever since then, it was just a cool thing that no one else was a Rams fan but me and my small group of friends and family. And so I just stuck with them. And boy, was that brutal in high school under the Linehan and Hazlitt years and those drafts. Whew,
So you were in Florida at the time.
Yes, I've lived here my whole life, Mark, born and raised. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I was talking about that on the live stream. I think it was a live stream as well, that I think, I don't have any data to support this, but, two or three people I know, and probably myself included, you latch onto a team, probably when you're about 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, third grader, 8 years old. I know that because my wife taught third grade for years, all those 8-year-olds. And that's what happened with my son as well. He was, I think, 9 years old, very sports minded, and he knew I followed the Rams, but I don't think he was really all in yet. And that year, watching the greatest show on turf, he was like, "Hey, Dad, your team's kind of cool. Maybe I will root for them."
They're fun to watch too.
Yeah, and then for 15 years, I was constantly apologizing to him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that was rough, but
yeah. Hey, this Ram Fan Rap session thing I started. It's been a little while since we've done it. Once the season gets rolling, we get into other content. But I wanted to share this this map with everybody. This is how this has played out so far. My original idea was just to get Ram fans on, and then I thought it'd be cool to hit as many states and countries as possible. And you're not on this map yet, Farbod, but you will be next time.
Happy to be your first Florida Rams fan on here. Love that.
Yeah, right. We've got Washington, Missouri, South Carolina, a bunch of guys from the Northeast, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, New York. I'm taking credit for Peo Time, the Canadian Ram fan. He's been on a couple of times. And then Ernesto Salgado from Mexico. He's been on a couple of times as well. It's kind of cool. We got hitting all the states. Got a big chunk of the Western United States that we need to fill in. And maybe it'll just take some time. But that's kind of the idea here. And maybe we get some European Ram fans on too. I know there are a lot of Ram fans in Germany, or maybe
Australia too, Mark.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I know I guess we could take credit for an enlisted guy assigned to an Air Force base in Germany. If you're listening out there, let's get you on. That would be fun. So, what are your feelings about the 2024 season?
Well, it started out marvelous, as you know, sure. It was rough, man. That 1-4 start, that was brutal. We all know it, but we powered through. We got healthy in essence. So that's really going to be the trick to any of our seasons. And that's, you could say with most teams, but we're so reliant on Stafford and that O-line and our starting receivers, as we saw, that it's going to boil down to health. And I think, it was a good season. We made the playoffs. We won our division. We were 13 yards away from an NFC championship. So I would chalk that down as a win, but I'm sure I'm not alone in thinking this, we have a 37-year-old quarterback. Every season it could be his last, with us especially, or in general. And more and more seasons, if we don't win the ring, is that really a win? It's not like we're grooming someone for the future. These are it. Like, we got Stafford now, and we're seeing right now he's trying to come back. We're trying to get him, apparently, keep him, but maybe he's got 2 years left. So all of these years, it's almost like all in or not or bust. So,
yeah, I kind of feel the same. Well, I think all Ram fans feel the same way. It's like the way the season, beginning of the season, we figured the defense was going to have some issues. Our offense is going to carry the team. And then we started getting all those injuries right out of the gate. And you're like, oh my gosh, here we go again. And then we had that run just like the previous year. And then, yeah, you're right. It was a win in that we're kind of playing with house money in the playoffs. We have a shot at this, and just a missed opportunity. And not only missed opportunity, it would have been epic. It would have been if we pull that off in Philadelphia and then come home and beat the Commanders. And if it was us and the Chiefs, that would have been a much more entertaining game, a closer game than what we saw for sure.
Probably, yeah.
And it would have been great. But, got over it, moving on.
Right.
So I posted a thing last night. I don't know if you saw it, and I talked about all the great reasons it's great to be a Ram fan right now. But I opened it up talking about Matthew Stafford, and I kind of took a little bit of heat, I think, from a couple commenters. I think they interpreted me as, well, number one, feeding the fire, number two, talking about a non-story. But I was just reacting to a lot of the stuff I'm seeing. And, you never know what to believe, but it seems to be picking up steam that the Rams are just getting a little tired of this. Matthew Stafford, obviously wants more guarantees, and maybe they are going to move on from him. And I hope that's not the case. But how do you feel about this Stafford story? Is it a non-story, or are you worried that he is going to?
Mark. This is a complete non-story. It's just talking heads. I don't know what's up with Cowherd. I love Cowherd. This is the first time he said something that affected me personally like this, that I'm just like, what are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about? It's a non-story. Okay, maybe there's a little truth that the Rams brass is a little frustrated with Kelly Stafford. Okay, that's fair. But Mark, who are we going to get?
Yeah.
Stafford and McVay are buddies. They're not just, football minds that are creative together. They're personal minds. And I don't see them just breaking this off when Stafford still obviously has got juice in him. If he was struggling with us, okay, maybe it was time. Father time is undefeated. It's creeping up. But he's got at least 1 to 2 more years left, obviously. So I think there's nothing there. We're not going to just go with a rookie to start our season. And remember, Mark, one of the reasons why we traded for Stafford, right? We had Goff. We made it to the Super Bowl with him. We lost. And I'm paraphrasing here, but, when McVay met with Stafford in Cabo, and then he called our owner, Kroenke, and told him, do you want to bleep and win a Super Bowl or just make the playoffs and lose, right? How many other quarterbacks can he say that about right now? Rookies are unknown. You don't know. So I just don't see it. And don't say Aaron Rodgers. Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely. No, because you got to remember the personality aspect. Stafford and McVay get along. Do Rodgers and McVay get along? I don't think so. Rodgers doesn't take me as that type of guy.
Yeah, he doesn't strike me. Rodgers doesn't strike me as a we not me guy,
right?
For sure.
Exactly.
And there's something about him, something going on with him over the last couple of years that his teammates apparently don't really care for him. And I don't know, there's just something off with him. And he could come back here to LA and probably play some really good football, but I think there's a big risk. And I also don't think, I think what you're alluding to is, I don't think the Rams will ever go into true rebuild mode. They're going to do everything they can to be relevant every year. And so that's why I think the most likely outcome, maybe it's just what I would like the most, is they keep Stafford even for just one more year, give him another 1-year deal, and then draft a quarterback this year. And of course, that would mean McVay has his eye on someone that he thinks can carry the mantle. I don't know if that quarterback exists in this draft. Apparently, next year's draft is a lot better, which is feeding that story. Let's trade Stafford for a first rounder, move around in this year's draft, add more picks, and then next year go up and get whatever these top, these elite quarterbacks coming out in the 2026 draft would be. That would be, but I think adding, I don't know if, Jackson Dart or Quinn Ewers, one of those guys. I don't know if they're the answer though. Yeah. But there's going to be, but if one, go ahead.
No, I'm saying it's a risk. It's a risk going with the rookie like that. And I don't necessarily disagree with you, Mark, in the sense that there is a likely scenario that we keep Stafford and even our first round pick, we draft a quarterback late or trade up to draft a quarterback to be groomed by Stafford the next maybe year or two. Why I'm a little hesitant about that, though, is because look just how effective our first round pick since Jared Goff was in Jared Verse. The reports coming out of camp were constantly, this guy is obviously a first round pick. Wow, we forgot what a first round pick looks like in camp. He just blew everyone away, right? So does Snead and McVay and the rest of the staff, are they going to be okay getting a player that can potentially be that effective again day one? Or are they going to be okay having him not play and sit while we may have other needs that can come in right away, like a Jared Verse, even a Braden Fisk, and just dominate? So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and the other story, the other angle that hasn't been talked about is kind of like rinse and repeat what they did last time, package picks and go find a veteran quarterback out there that's, kind of struggling with a crappy franchise somewhere. I don't know if that guy exists either, not someone at Matthew Stafford's level.
Right.
And that will fit into this offense. I think, and this is just my opinion, I don't think McVay is necessarily interested in, maybe as the new model of quarterback that extends plays, runs a little bit. I don't know if that's going to work with McVay. I think with fans it would work because, we haven't, when was the last time the Rams had a quarterback that could really, be creative, off schedule and be dynamic and, run a little bit. Right. I mean, Carson Wentz did it a little bit, but I don't know if that's, it's kind of a double-edged sword. You like that, but then, when you have this mastermind guy like McVay drawing up plays, he wants you to hit the first, second, third read, move the ball down the field with your receivers, the running game and all that. You don't want quarterbacks that are just going to bail. But I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. I think McVay is going to want a quarterback that, a pocket passer that executes the playbook. But
I think that's a cherry on top, Mark. What we've seen is exactly what you're talking about. McVay does want that absolute dart thrower in the pocket that can go through his reads and make the right decision. But in my opinion, with McVay, and this is why one of the many reasons why he's the best coach in the league, the guy evolves. He doesn't just stay put with the same thing. Sometimes we all get a little frustrated. He passes the ball too much. He calls those pass plays. But at the end of the day, he's not dumb. He sees how the league's evolving and how all these great teams do have quarterbacks that maybe aren't as elite as Stafford is in those types of things we talked about. But if the play breaks down, they're able to extend that play and still make a play, and especially an explosive play. And we heard McVay talking about, that he wants more explosive plays in his offense. So I think that's the tricky part. Can you get a quarterback that has the ability of extending plays while also being able to make those reads and stand tall in the pocket and make that be his first option? It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, it is. So this year's draft, we have that 26 pick, is it? And we don't have a second round pick, a couple in the third round. What are your, assuming Stafford comes back for this discussion, and let's assume Alaric Jackson comes back as well. What are you looking at with that first pick and those 2 third-round picks?
As far as a need goes, I mean, wouldn't it be great to get an inside linebacker to pair with Omar Spades? Oh, I would love that. As far as McVay's explosive comments, though, I would not be shocked if we went receiver or even tight end. There are handlers of 2 or 3 elite tight ends right now. And will they drop to 26? Probably not, but that'd be exciting. Exciting.
I mocked a tight end to the Rams at number 26 overall. Yeah. And there was one guy that went off on me. And I'm like, hey, he's done this. He's tried to do it twice. Right. And I just don't know if he can help himself if there's a dynamic wide receiver or a tight end. And I also feel like, if you look at what the Seahawks have done ad nauseum and what the Eagles did, drafting a elite cornerback, I think we could really use one. I agree with you on the linebacker. I've given up on the Rams drafting linebackers though. Although Ernest Jones they took fairly early, and then they trade him. So really strange.
We got one Super Bowl out of him though.
Right. So we'll have to see. I trust, Sean McVay and Les Snead in the draft at this point. I think they've been doing a really good job. I think it's kind of comical when people criticize these guys, criticize Sean McVay and his play calling. We all do it. We can second guess though, but I think those guys know what they're doing. It is strange when maybe it's part of the game plan. There's been a handful of games where, okay, this defense is horrible against the pass, so let's throw the ball around and we hand it off 6 straight times. And then the reverse happens, a really good run, whatever the weakness is on the defense, we end up playing into their strength. And maybe that's part of the magic of McVay, trying to surprise him or something. I don't know, but
I think it's ego, man. He's got these shiny toys. He wants to show them off. He's like, look at my quarterback. You don't have this guy. Watch this. And he tries to just get him to fling it. And sometimes that's not the move. We got Kyren Williams sitting there waiting to get the ball. And when he gets it, he gets those 6-7 yards more times than not. So.
Yeah, I remember like Mike Martz. There was one game with Mike Martz where I'm pretty sure he threw the ball the first 20 plays. Oof. And it worked, but he was a different beast. Yeah, I think he was also, talk about showing off his shiny toys. I'm not handing the ball off. Are you kidding me?
7 step drops only, right? That was Mark.
Right. So how do you feel about, something we haven't talked about as much as we should have on the show, Kyren Williams with his fumbling? A lot of people, I almost feel like some Rams just want to move on from him because of that. Are you in Kyren Williams camp still?
It's like this, man. It's like he fumbles, I'm down, and then he gets a touchdown again, and I'm way up, And I think we got to just remember, like, running backs fumble. It's part of the game. Does he do it a little too much sometimes? Sure. And the worst times, sure. But why I like Kyren is he cares, and he knows this is an issue. So do I trust he's working on it to get it better? Do I trust McVay's on him about fixing that? I do trust that. So I am still with him. What I do hope, though, Mark, and maybe this will be with one of those 3rd-round picks around there, that we get that speedster back.
Yeah.
We're not drafting clones of Kyren where if he goes down, we're still going to have the same back. Great. But let's get a Jahmyr Gibbs type player that can get a 67-yard breakout play. So that'd be nice.
Yeah. Scott Richmond, a guest on the show, occasionally has been talking about that. And that's what he wants as well. A change of pace, fast running back. And the Rams will draft a running back. They do every year. It's just a matter of, they're going to bring Kyren back and Blake Corum. So I don't think we need a third, the same right. car in the garage. We have the 2 Chevelle Super Sports. Let's go get a Porsche, something like that.
Exactly.
So how do you feel about the Rams' chances with the 2025 season? Let me preface that by saying I've talked about this on the show a few times. The first place schedule isn't doing them any favors, especially compared to the 49ers. But that aside, how do you feel this 2025 season? How optimistic are you?
Romance is in the air for Valentine's Day. And when you're ready to pop the question, all you need is the perfect moment to come around. And, of course, the ring. At BlueNile.com, you can find thousands of natural and lab-grown diamonds, plus legendary service from Blue Nile's jewelry experts, who can answer every question, help you design a custom ring, and even plan the proposal. So seize the day today. Right now, you can save up to 50% at BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com.
You know what's smart? Enjoying a fresh gourmet meal at home that you didn't have to cook. Meet Factor, your loophole in the laws of mealtime. Chef-crafted meals delivered with a tap, ready in just 2 minutes. You know what's even smarter? Treating yourself without cheating your goals. Factor is dietitian approved, chef prepared, and you plated. Pretty smart, huh? Refresh your routine and eat smart with Factor. Learn more at factormeals.com.
This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like to check the date of the big game first before you accidentally buy tickets on your 20th wedding anniversary and have to spend the next 20 years of your marriage making up for it. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
More rewards, more savings. With American Express Business Gold, earn up to $395 back in annual statement credits on eligible purchases at select shipping, food delivery, and retail subscription merchants. Enjoy the benefits of membership with the Amex Business Gold Card. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold Card. Built for business by American Express.
This episode is brought to you by Atlassian. Atlassian makes the team collaboration software that powers enterprise businesses around the world, including over 80% of the Fortune 500. With Atlassian's AI-powered software like Jira, Confluence, and Loom, you'll have more time to do the work that matters. In fact, Atlassian customers experience a 25% reduction in project duration per year. Unleash the potential of your team at Atlassian.com. Atlassian.
I'm pretty optimistic, Mark, and part of that reason is look how the rest of the division is doing, right? You mentioned the Niners. Okay, maybe they have an easy schedule, but they're going to not have Debo. Their left tackle is aging. He might not be around. Their quarterback's a little up and down. Their receivers are up and down. That franchise is kind of falling apart, and I am smiling ear to ear saying that. Because we don't like the Niners, right? Then what? We have the Seahawks, and I don't know about you, Mark. I'm not threatened by them. Geno Smith doesn't scare me. They're not a scary team to me. Maybe they're on the up, but I think we're still way ahead of them. And then the Cardinals, of course, they just love to implode on themselves at the end of the season every year, it seems like. I think when you compare us to the rest of the division, we're looking good. Not just that, but we do have the landmark pieces of being at least a deep playoff team in the sense of a elite head coach, elite quarterback for now. Let's see if we actually get him soon. And as far as retaining Stafford, great O-line and key playmakers. And our defense really, really shored up towards the end of the year. So it's exciting to see that progression, especially of that young defense heading into the next year. That's probably the thing I'm most excited about. And I'm sure you even mentioned this, Mark. McVay loves to draft some offensive players always between receiver, tight end, what have you, running back too. And how are those players going to look next season? What type of explosivity are they going to add to this offense? So all those reasons combined, I am really optimistic, Mark.
And the scheduling thing, what's going to happen here, I'm going to make a prediction here. So for those of you that haven't checked the schedule, the NFC West plays the AFC South, and the NFC South, who, in my opinion, are the two weakest divisions. The Rams, unfortunately, I just don't like this idea of the first place team playing three other first place teams and the last place team playing three last place teams, but it is what it is, and that's where the 49ers get the advantage. But I think the NFC West teams, the teams that play well and stay healthy, are going to rack up some wins against those other two divisions. So I would expect to see two teams from the NFC West in the playoffs. That would be my prediction right now. Now, who comes out on top in the NFC West? I think the 49ers still have a formidable roster, but I agree with you, especially I'm hoping they give Brock Purdy a giant contract, because it's one of those deals, kind of like the same deal you had with Goff and some other quarterbacks. They may not be good enough, to win the big game for you, but they're too good to move on from. He's a good quarterback. Brock Purdy's a very good quarterback, but I just don't know if he has the it factor, and he does make mistakes, and he chokes a little bit. I think there's some stats on him when he's behind in the second half, it's not a good look. And Stafford's kind of the opposite, right?
Right.
And I think Seattle, that coach up there, I think he's going to build a really good defense, but it may take a year or two. But, Geno Smith is another guy that, good quarterback, but, I'm pretty sure they're not 100% behind him as their long-term quarterback. And then Kyler Murray, you really got to talk about the quarterbacks, the coach, and the third factor you already brought up, the health. And the health, who knows? But the quarterback situation, Rams are on top there, coaching. And you talk about the ability to flex and evolve. That's the knock on Shanahan too, right?
Yeah.
He really struggles with that. I jumped in on a couple of 49er YouTube channels just to watch a couple times, and that's one of the things they talk about the most is Shanahan just does not evolve. And, and that's why he's lost so many games in the second half, big games. He just sticks with what's not working. And
28-3, Mark.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, I'm optimistic too. It's going to be fun. The Rams will be relevant one way or another. And it's going to be a really fun league year when March 15th rolls around, whatever it is. There's going to be a lot happening, a lot going on, but
excited for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, you want to get to we always wrap things up here. Is there anything else you want to talk about before I get to my 6 questions?
How about we just give Chris Shula a round of applause? That guy.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know about you, Mark, but a lot of Rams fans were calling for his head, especially in the beginning of the season. Lo and behold, the guy got it together. That defense, man, that's a young defense, and they grew together. And I think the possibilities next season, especially if we get that inside linebacker, especially if we keep because what was the stat on the last 4 or 5 games? We kept how many teams under 100 yards rushing? It was something like that.
Yeah, and in single digits point wise, except for that Seattle game, which we played backups.
Exactly. Right. That's a testament to them and Chris Shula. So I just am really excited to see how they specifically are going to evolve next season and how much tighter they're going to be. How is Jared Verse going to continue to not miss tackles like he did early in the season? Is Braden Fisk going to be able to stay healthy, apply that pressure? That D-line, that has the potential to be easily the best D-line in the league. We'll see. I mean, the Eagles are there right now with their D-line. But how young our D-line is, let's see how next year that second-year growth is going to affect them and produce that sort of, maybe some of those pressures become sacks that Jared Verse got. So.
Yeah, and in Chris Shula's situation, he's an experienced coach, but your first year as a defensive coordinator, that's a change in responsibility, and it he kind of grew with the job, and by the end of the year, they were nailing it. I don't know what's going on with this whole season. What we remember are the gash plays. Our defense just got gashed a bunch of times by big plays. And that needs to be fixed. And I'm not here to tell you how to fix it, but they'll get better. The unit's going to get better, and he's going to get better. And you're absolutely right,
Mark. Personnel helps because if you remember, especially early, there were different players on the field. Let's focus specifically on Trey White. He was one that was getting gashed over and over in that Cardinals game, for example. Yeah. So it helps that our personnel evolved with time. And remember, Omar didn't come in until Reader came back. And fingers crossed, no more Reader. Just stop with the Reader experiment. No, thank you.
Yeah,
and special teams if you want, but leave Omar
and we also
someone else.
And we also had safeties that had never played together before. Cam Kinchins, Jalen McCullough, Cameron Curl, a free agent Curl. So it's not, it doesn't happen overnight with the defense, but by the end of the year, man, they were a fun group, scary fun. And,
exciting,
And sometimes we look at the schedule and we see teams like the Bills and the Ravens. Next year it'll be the Ravens, the Eagles, and Lions, and we're like, oh man,
bring them.
I don't think the fans of those teams are happy to see us on their schedule at this point. So it works both ways. Rams, I think, are right now, in the NFL, they're up there as, that upper tier, that every year kind of brings it. They had the one-off year due to all the injuries, but we're just lucky this franchise is in this place right now. It's a great time to be a Ram fan. I say that over and over again, and I really believe it.
And you're right.
There's about 25 other fan bases that would trade places with us in a heartbeat.
Easily.
Okay, so these 6 questions, and I got these in a different order. I haven't done this in a while. I went back and looked at some of the old videos. And I was like, what questions did I ask? So question number 1, and if you're not prepared for these, take your time, or just like, if you don't have an answer, that's fine too. Just kind of throwing these at you out from left field. Question number 1, who is your favorite player all time? Your favorite, not necessarily who you think's the best. That question's coming up. Who is just your favorite player? Who would you like to, sometimes I frame it this way. Who would you like to have a beer with? Who would you like to play a round of golf with? Who would you like to invite over your house for a barbecue? Who's that one guy that, is just your all-time favorite Ram?
I think it would. Okay, so that's kind of a 2-part question to me, Mark, because I can have my favorite Ram, but those things you mentioned specifically are like their personality-wise.
Yeah,
so
okay.
On the field production and then off the field content.
You can give me 2 answers. That's fine.
Okay. So as far as who I'd want to hang out with, have a beer with, I think it's a tie between Puka and Kobe Turner, just because of their personalities. Puka, that guy doesn't stop smiling. It's hilarious. It's contagious. And Kobe, I like to play music too, so I feel like me and him jam out a little bit. So there's that. On the field, that's a long list. Now, not the best player, just the player that you just enjoy. Yeah.
How they play. You'd wear their jersey.
Marshall
Falk. Yeah, that's a good choice. I mean, every time I think of Marshall Falk, I think of that run against the Browns.
Yes.
One of the most, crazy. And he was, I also remember plays where I think this gets overstated a little bit, but it is kind of cool. There was a play where the Rams were trying to they're in a 2-minute drill, and one of their players got banged up, and they were trying to line up, and he grabbed him and pulled him over to his position on the line. They're going like no huddle, just so they could do like a spike the ball type thing or something.
Coach on the field.
Yeah, right. So kind of related to that, and it could be, again, you can give me the same answer, and you probably will.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think is the greatest Ram player ever? The greatest?
The greatest? I might actually change my answer there, Mark. I'm going to go Eric Dickerson.
Yeah. When I followed the Rams closely back in those days, and he was incredible. Just those goggles, man.
Yeah.
It's just his style of play too. And I still have one of the best Christmas presents I've ever received. When the Rams were in St. Louis, my daughter paid for one of those. You can have a athlete or actor or someone record a video for you. And so Eric Dickerson recorded a video for me, and it like got launched on Christmas morning, and it was pretty cool. Yeah, I still have it. Let's see. Who do you think's the most underappreciated Ram? The one that should get more love than he receives. It could be current Rams historically. Who's the Ram that doesn't get the love they deserve?
I'm going to throw a curveball here, and that kickers don't get enough love. I'm going to throw Jeff Wilkins out there.
Yeah, his all-time leading scorer still, right?
Yeah. I think so, yeah, and PATs specifically.
Yeah, and I don't know if people realize this. He originally played for the 49ers, and we signed him.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they let him go, or he became a free agent, and the Rams signed him. I don't think he was with them long, So that makes it extra special. Let's see. What's your favorite moment all time as a Rams fan? That one play where, I'm going to remember this forever.
Oh, man. That's got to be during the 21 season, honestly. There's a handful of them out there. If I had to pick one, though, I would have to say the love of the game route against the Bucks with Cup. That was phenomenal. That had me screaming at the top of my lungs. And to see my wife brings us up all the time because she loved how they filmed Stafford just yelling at everyone, "Come on, let's go! We gotta spike!"
Right.
So it was that was very exciting. There's of course a handful of other moments in that whole season, but I think if you asked 100 Ram fans, all of them would mention one of these moments, either the tackle with Mike Jones, the 73-yard touchdown pass to Isaac Bruce, same game, the play you mentioned against the Bucks, because we're like, I was close to being devastated because we had that game and we just like playing like dummies at the end there. 2 fumbles, that bad snap over Stafford's head. Like, what are we doing? And then that play. And then the other, probably some people would probably mention the 2 Aaron Donald tackles. And the one play I'll always remember, another Cooper Kupp play, was the following week after your play when Cooper Kupp had the big catch against the 49ers and did the most emotional. Yeah, right. I've never seen him so emotional, and that play too. But yeah, that big play to Cooper Kupp that you mentioned is certainly up there. That especially because I don't know if you know a lot of Bucks fans, Mark. They're kind of annoying. I don't know. I got a lot of them down here in Florida, and it was nice to rub that in their face and send that picture of him catching the ball to all of them and be like, "Hey, go frame this, buddy. Enjoy it."
Yeah, the Bucks fans should be careful. And I do know some Bucks fans, but the Rams have gone through Tampa Bay. When I see Tampa Bay on the playoff schedule, I think, oh, this is going to be good. We beat them to get to the 79 Super Bowl. We beat them with the Ricky Pearl catch. Mm-hmm. And then we beat them, in this game. And the game you mentioned, and what makes it sweet, that Ricky Pearl catch, a lot of people don't realize this, but if you go back and look at that, there was 2 guys in coverage there, and one of them was John Lynch.
Oh, look at
that. Yeah. Sorry, general manager.
Yeah, right.
I think I'm going with some extra questions here. How many games have you been to?
Ooh, I don't think I can just count them. At least 10 to 15.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man. I've been to, now how many home games have I been to? Unfortunately, only one. But especially since I've been married the past 3 years, my wife and I, we, as a part of our anniversary celebration, we like to travel together and go to different parts of the country as part of our honeymoon. It's like a long-term honeymoon type thing. And we always, each season, pick a city that we haven't been to and go to that. So that helps. But prior to even meeting her, since high school, I've been going to between Jaguars games, Bucks games, even Dolphins games.
Do you try to catch the Rams in those games?
Always, only.
Oh, okay. They're all Rams games. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not far from the Carolina Stadium, Jacksonville. Although Jacksonville, they only get there like once every 8 years. But
yeah, I did go there last time they came. It was fun. It was cheap too because the Jaguars are terrible.
Yeah. And what did you go to, SoFi or the Coliseum or?
SoFi. It was unfortunately the 2022 season. We bought our tickets for the Christmas Broncos game before the season started. Exciting to see a good game against Russell Wilson. It was still a good game for us. It was a complete blowout. But that was our first experience at SoFi, and my first tailgate experience where I wasn't the minority in the away team, and I felt like I was home. It was beautiful.
Yeah. So your wife's a Rams fan too?
By proxy, yeah.
Yeah, right. My wife is. I mean, she wants them to win because she wants me to have a nice afternoon.
Sure.
Other than that,
I understand that completely.
Other than that, she doesn't really care that much.
Oh, gotcha.
So who is your second team? And it could be college, any sport. Do you have a second team you root for? Or I'm assuming the Rams are your first team.
Of course, of course. As far as football goes, though, my second team is the Dolphins. Seeing as I grew up here, they are my AFC team. My perfect Super Bowl would be Rams Dolphins, and if that's the only scenario where if the Rams are the Super Bowl, I won't shed 100 tears. I might shed 20 tears. So that's football, though. But I'm a local guy. Regardless of that, I root for the Heat, the Panthers, and hockey. Not a huge baseball guy, and for that reason, I root for the Dodgers just because, let's go LA. I support LA teams in general because of the Rams. But baseball's not really my thing. But yeah, as far as it's usually Rams, Heat, and Panthers are my top three. And as far as other teams in football, yeah, I want the Dolphins to be successful too, especially after Ramsey went there. I was excited for that. I was like, oh, cool. I went to the training camp. I tried to meet him. I didn't, unfortunately, but I wore my number 5 Ramsey jersey that I had, or 20, sorry, before he changed his number. And I wore it there, and man, it was hot, but I tried to meet him and get him to sign it, but I couldn't find him, unfortunately.
All right, so you don't root for any teams at the college level?
Oh, sorry. Yes, I'm a diehard Canes fan. The UM.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do root for them. You mentioned if my wife is a Rams fan. Actually, the reason why she supports the Rams by proxy and is into the games is because she unfortunately went to UF and is a huge Gators fan. And per her words, when you go there, they pretty much indoctrinate you to love their football team. And she learned about football through that route, actually. So by the time we met, she actually could tell me what a screenplay was. And that was cool. I was like, oh.
Well, hey, the Rams have had some players from Florida. The one that comes to mind is Jack Youngblood, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Van Jefferson, I think, right?
Van Jefferson, yeah.
Yeah, now we're leaning more Florida State these days, unfortunately, which probably doesn't make her happy. But
No, but at the end of the day, if they're doing well on the Rams, we're all happy. So
yeah, right. Let's see what else. This is probably the toughest question. It's the toughest question for me, and I think I give a different answer every time. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of Rams?
Woo. That's
and
tough.
It could be guys you already named. I assume you're probably gonna include Dickerson. I assume,
of course, yeah, Dickerson, Falk for sure. Warner, I think Stafford's done enough to be up there, even though he hasn't been with us long. The guy won a ring; he's got to be included.
Let me help you out. I'll throw some names out there that maybe you haven't thought of. Going way back, Deacon Jones, more recent Aaron Donald. You can go way, way back, but I think at this point we've kind of written off the guys from the 1950s. I mean, we should have a pre 1970 Mount Rushmore where you can include like Deacon Jones, Merlin Olsen, Norm Van Brocken, whatever. And then after that, you get into the Dickersons, Youngbloods, the greatest show on turf. Man, I don't know, man, it's tough. But so you have Dickerson for sure. Who else?
Let's go Falk, Warner, Deacon Jones, absolutely. The guy coined the Deacon Jones head slap. I'm going to throw another one out there, Orlando Pace. Oh,
yeah, that's true.
Forget about that guy, the creator of the pancake block, right? So, gotta love that.
I meant to share it. I'm going to have to find some way to share this video. There's a gentleman that runs a YouTube channel. He's just kind of all over the place, talking about different NFL teams. Oh, geez, I got to find I'll share it on the next podcast. And he did like an hour documentary on the LA Rams. Oh. And the gist of it was no franchise has had, like you mentioned, a sine wave. Their legacy, the history of the Rams is like that. Fantastic, incredible. Oh my God, they suck. Fantastic, incredible. Yeah. Oh my God, they're horrible. And he talked about that, how no other franchise has had the highs and lows like the Rams. I mean, the big low is really, in between the greatest show on turf and McVay. Other than that, that was the real low. But he talked about the greatest show on turf and how that all came together. And he said, and he probably a very fair point, it all began with the drafting of Orlando Pace.
Mm-hmm.
And without Orlando Pace, that might not have happened. It might not have. I probably would disagree with that a little bit, but his point, fair point though, he locked down that position for Warner, and the rest of the offense could just go get him,
Exactly. Gave him time.
Yeah. Yeah, just Orlando's over there. Okay, we don't have to worry about that.
Right? My blind side's protected.
Let's figure out everything else. But yeah, Orlando Pace is a good one. I think you got like 5 or 6 guys on your Mount Rushmore, but that's okay.
We'll add some rock to it.
Yeah, it's tough because it really is, you start what I did a Mount Rushmore segment a while back, and what I tried to do, my approach was, and I don't know if I remember how it turned out. I didn't want tried to limit players that had played together, and I tried to include only one player per position. So I only picked one running back, one quarterback, one wide receiver, and I think a defensive lineman. And even that's tough. Yeah. I think I ended up, did I leave Warner off? I don't know if I did. I'll have to go back and look, but I think I took Dickerson over Falk, and I took Aaron Donald over Deacon Jones, that type of thing. But
gotcha.
Yeah,
that's tough.
yeah. You either got to do it that way or just make 3 separate Mount Rushmores for,
right.
1950 through 1970, 1970 through 1990, right. Or maybe through the Greatest Show. And then after the Greatest Show to now, maybe I'll do a segment on that. I'll have to go back and I have to dig that up somewhere. That episode is out there somewhere on my Mount Rushmore.
Try to do Aaron Donald's coming back, Mark?
No, I think at this point, I don't. I've always been a big believer. I shouldn't say it, that's probably the wrong way of phrasing it. I don't know why some of these guys just continue playing. To be honest with you, I mean, I know they're competitive, and there's a lot of if you're a great athlete, you're a great athlete because you're super competitive and you have a big ego, and nothing wrong with that. But then there's something to be said with these guys like the running back Lynch, and there was this linebacker from the 49ers that retired after like 3 years. Have a great career. You're healthy. Walk away and go enjoy life. Like Bobby Wagner, still playing, but I get it. He's on a team that's, he's a free agent now, but when he went to the Commanders, I was like, Bobby, what more do you have to prove? You're a first ballot Hall of Famer. You've had a great career. I assume you're still healthy. You're a millionaire, probably 10 times over. Hey, but that's just me, that's just me.
I just love the game, and we health is definitely important, but sometimes we say their ages like they're in their like 80s or something. And these guys are in their late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s, late 30s. That's still young, in general.
Yeah.
But if you're not healthy, for sure, that's a factor. But if you're one of the few blessed guys who are healthy and during that time, nothing too serious.
Yeah, I wonder if it had turned out differently if Aaron Donald had returned for the playoffs. We'll never know. Because he looks at, and, I'm sure he's in a good place, and he looks extremely happy. I've seen him pop up on social media a few times. And it's also, with Aaron Donald, maybe it's an exception, but I wonder if there's a little bit of, the team saying, hey, man, you didn't go through the war with us these 17 games, and now you pop in because we made the playoffs. That probably wouldn't be a problem with Aaron Donald coming back, but they're,
right.
They, you know what I'm saying?
Rafters, just,
Yeah, but I mean, Aaron Donald is, he's an icon, and and the Rams have had a bunch of icons, and he's right up there. Okay, hey man, it's been fun. This has been a good episode. I think it's good to get this started. I have another one planned later this week, so we'll get another one out probably by next weekend. We'll see how that goes. But hey, thanks for joining. This has been fun, and
thanks for having me, Mark.
we we checked the Florida box, and I'll throw this back up here, covering all the states, Canada and Mexico, and we add Farbod to the list out of Florida, South Florida. That's kind of cool. Thanks for joining, man. It's been a lot of fun.
Likewise, Mark. Thanks for having me. I'll definitely be tuning in to all your uploads, and maybe I'll be back on one day. We'll see.
Yeah. Hey, and you have some good perspective on things. Maybe we'll have you join a roundtable sometime if you think you might be up to it. Yeah, we're gonna get some extra guests on there once in a while.
Sure.
Okay, man. Thanks a lot out here from California and Florida. Thanks for joining.
See you guys.
That's going to do it for this episode. Remember, you can reach us at ramsuppodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget about our YouTube channel. Our handle is at laramsup.com. Till next time, keep the horns up, stay safe, and have fun out there.